There are 13,000 cabs on the streets of New York, but there's only one that pays you back for 5 years of fantastic frugality. Climb into TSR's very own tiny cash cab, and I'll take you to a series of destinations that celebrate the Empire State without leaving home. So what do you say? You in? Welcome! Take a ride inside the thrift store rundown's Cash Cab of Dreams, where for our 5th anniversary, we're bringing a Big Apple home. On a budget. You really shouldn't judge a book by its cover, and therefore shouldn't judge a cookbook by its name. For instance, you might think that God's Love We Deliver is a Christian-based organization. It is not. It is not a faith-based organization. What it is, however, is a non-profit charity based in New York that prepares and delivers freshly made, nutritious, and flavorful meals to infirmed individuals throughout the Big Apple. It earned its name because of a citizen of New York acclaiming the work of the founder of God's Love We Deliver by saying that she is doing God's work, hence the name God's Love We Deliver. And out of that came their official cookbook, featuring nourishing stories and recipes from notable friends, and I do mean notable. Celebs and pop culture evidences that span almost every artistic endeavor you can think of. All of their recipes and stories have been compiled for this cookbook by longtime board of directors member for God's Love We Deliver, John Gilman, and longtime volunteer Christopher Iadone, who sadly passed away before the completion of this book. It features mouth-watering food photography by Ben Fink. Even if he wasn't getting paid for this, Ben Fink is one of the most preeminent food photographers of our time. He's done some delicious work. The following is a trailer from God's Love We Deliver, showcasing a summation of all the stories, a theme that goes throughout the entire book.
Growing up in Vermont on a farm, my grandmother and I cooked a lot together, and I think my earliest memory of cooking with her was cooking these little pan-fried troutlings. We called them troutlings because they were teeny little fish. But we'd fry them up, dredge them in a little bit of cornmeal, and fry them in butter with some capers and lemons. And that was sort of one of the first real dishes that I ever cooked. And fish has become such an important part of how I cook now. I feel very fortunate to have had that early relationship with food. And I'm really grateful for those experiences of being around a table.
My grandparents were the ones who really cooked. My grandmother was a baker, my grandfather did more of the savory stuff. Both my parents worked, so we were like latchkey kids, and we would go home after school and eat terrible food.
Some parents are just too busy, and they can't. Or they never got a sandwich themselves.
I was born in post-war England, the 1950s. There was still rationing when I was a kid. So the food was this sort of grim, Oliver Twist kind of situation. That's why I'm freakishly undersized. We were all malnourished.
My love of food came from working in restaurants, really, and the desire to find good food.
I was born into a family of restaurateurs, and my father was a great inspiration in my life.
Not only did my mother have a restaurant, but my aunts had restaurants. I basically grew up eating whatever we went to collect from the farms.
Whenever on Sundays he would make scrambled eggs, or anything else for that matter, I would observe, and it became second nature. The scrambled egg, as simple as it may seem, can be fantastic or it can be absolutely awful.
When I was studying in Paris, I was following the cook around, going to the various markets. It was just very new. It was not your typical roast chicken dinner.
I had the ultimate Jewish grandmother. Loved to cook and loved to bake. One of the things that I always remembered was this fabulous pineapple upside down cake. You waited with bated breath while she was making it to see her flip the pan over, and wow.
One summer, I barbecued a bunch of steaks and I put them on the counter inside to rest. And I came back and I noticed ribeye juice dripping off of the counter in a line, and I found my dog sitting there in a meat coma, licking his chops. These are great steaks, and they go fast.
My parents used to take us to Cape Cod, and we would dig for steamer clams. It was just a really wonderful experience for a kid. I know it's a cliche, but I do think that food is love on some level.
You know, I really firmly believe in this notion of food as medicine. I think food is fundamental to our well-being. To have a healthy meal, to have a balanced meal that's prepared for you and that reflects your own needs is such an important aspect of maintaining your health.
The idea of generosity and empathy is one of the highest expressions of human behavior. So giving them food, that's it, that's the bottom line.
As I always say, the name of the organization says it all.
So now that you got a taste of God's love we deliver, let's dig right in and find out how much this book really delivers. First we have Donna Karen, fashion designer and philanthropist with a forever green salad with creamy basil dressing. Next up is Chef Mark Bittman, who was previously highlighted in this series with his Quick and Easy Recipes book from the New York Times. He is a food journalist and cookbook author who contributes pasta with cauliflower. Definitely minimalist. You know, his weekly recipe column, Minimalist in the New York Times. We have here John Robin Bates, playwright and screenwriter who gets a special mention and a special tip of the cap from me, the Yankees cap, for the following sentence at the end of his little essay. I think one should have sex at the end of this evening, safely but passionately. Some people think that sex is over, but I think it's just begun. Well, John Robert Bates, with a recipe like date night spaghetti with vodka and caviar? Oh boy. Oh yeah, it's only begun. By the way, this carries over from yesterday's Playbill magazine review from June 2016, celebrating Pride Month. We have here Ina Garten, cookbook author and television host, once again an Emmy Award-winning television host, and I say that because, well, the Daytime Creative Arts Lifestyle Emmys awarded her 2 statues. Outstanding Culinary Host and Culinary Program for Barefoot Contessa Cook Like a Pro. With a recipe like perfect roast turkey from one of her cookbook's Barefoot Contessa parties, I guess it's no wonder. I've seen her work on Food Network, and she is a delight to watch. But she never acknowledges her fans in any of her cookbooks, which is why I don't buy them. Shame on you. But I will tip my Yankees cap to you, in fairness, for winning 2 Daytime Emmys this year. She also provides the introduction to this book as a longtime volunteer for God's Love We Deliver. Also previously highlighted in the series is Chef Alex Guarnaschelli of Butter, and of course, Chopped and Alex's Day Off on Food Network. She contributes an apple crisp. Coming real soon on TSR, not in this series, but as a standard review, will be Katie Workman, cookbook author and editor-in-chief of, I believe, Stir.com. She has the Mom 100 cookbook, which I have in the back, and I will review soon. This is her roasted pears and custard. And finally, just for a little twist, we have Michael Kors, fashion designer with Grandma B's Pineapple Upside Down Cake. From noted journalists to fashion designers to interior designers, artists, athletes. Again, notable pop culture evidences that span nearly every artistic endeavor. Even singing. Oh, big props to you, sir, up in heaven, Christopher Iadone. Noted cookbook author who contributes deviled eggs. And there's also Lydia Bastianich in here. And I mentioned her because, well, pretty soon I'm going to be reviewing her cookbooks on TSR. And I have a few of them. I believe about 4 that need to be reviewed. Oh, and of course, noted chefs contribute some of their recipes too. Now I have to point out here that not all the celebs featured in this cookbook contribute their own recipes. The celebs that do either have recipes from family that have been handed down for generations featured in here, or from noted chef friends within their elite circle of friends. We conclude with a timeline of keystone events that happened within God's Love We Deliver, and a recipe for Chuck's Brownies. If you ever find yourself at the corner of Spring Street and 6th Avenue in Manhattan, Soho, and the sweet smell of chocolate is in the air, that probably means Chuck the Baker is making his brownies again. Each year, with the help of his favorite Hobart mixer and hundreds of volunteers, Chuck bakes up more than 20,000 brownies. They have become a signature gift from God's Love We Deliver, available year-round. And now, that gift is delivered to you in the form of this recipe, which you can make at home. The recipe that follows gives a sense of what goes into preparing just one batch, 600 brownies. This will make about 588 3x3 inch brownies. You better be kidding, 588 brownies? That's enough to feed a crowd. And at this point, I don't think New York is ready to feed an entire crowd in one sitting just yet. You know why. You better scale down the recipe, dude. Please. Oh well. This retails for $50 in the US and $65 in Canada. Now you saw at the end of the trailer for this book a full listing of all the pop culture eminences that contribute recipes and stories in here. This is a parcel listing. But really, this is, like the city itself, one melting pot of a cookbook that is going to melt your heart. And I gotta give it all 5 claps. You are really doing God's work when you fix any of these recipes up. And then you might think to yourself, yeah, but for the grace of God goes I, a person who, in spirit, is having dinner with a celebrity. At least that's how I feel about it. Hey, I bring Hollywood home on a budget, no matter what. Sorry about my narrow-mindedness. Oh well, but God bless God's Love We Deliver for all their awesome work. If you would like to make a donation to God's Love We Deliver or learn more about this charity, there's a link in the description to check out their website. And of course, if you can make it here on a budget, you can make it anywhere without feeling famished. I'll catch you on the flip side. God bless you, and thanks for watching.